All right, ladies, today's topic, it's going to be quite fun and very interesting for us to actually include this as a topic, which is pretty versus practical. So women, I believe most of us are aesthetics creature. We like beautiful things. We like seeing ourselves in beautiful things. And we also want to be identified as beautiful. But sometimes it's maybe not that practical. And for moms, we tend to be very short on time and short on energy. And sometimes, I don't know whether it makes sense for us to forego aesthetics, to forego the pretty things and just being practical. In my case, for example, I love the idea of, waking up in the morning, putting my makeup on, wearing beautiful clothes, and just feel all pretty and happy that the entire day. But that takes time, and a lot of time, the activation energy for me to even, put makeup on, it's almost zero. And I ended up going the whole day without makeup. And even on days that I do, my husband will say things like, why do you put makeup on and then having to spend extra time at the end of the day to remove them, to take off that makeup. And it's just wasting time. It's just wasting money on cosmetics. You might as well be practical and not have makeup on. And he's fine with me not having makeup on. But for me, it's like I feel a difference when I go out with makeup on versus when I go out without makeup on. I feel very self-conscious. My skin might not be in the best condition. So this is sometimes, personally, I feel I see it as a characteristics conflict, because part of our character is that, maybe we want to be disciplined. We want to work out so we can look good. Or, we want to have certain practice in place that's good for our lives. But being moms, we are so tight on time, on energy, on resources that sometimes we just have to be practical, and that might not be the best thing. Christy, let me know, how do you see these two conflicting aspects?
Yeah, I think beauty is a really interesting, I think of it as beauty. I realize that I have a value that is beauty. I like to create beauty. I do see beauty as more than aesthetics. I also see that there's beauty in, for example, someone's character. Like they're a beautiful people, and we all know what we mean by that, right? So there's something harmonious about it, and I think it can be healing as well. When you're in a beautiful space, you definitely feel different energetically, and I don't think that we've been designed to be able to detect that. And in nature, there are many, many examples of beauty just existing naturally, and it serves a purpose. It's not an accident that we detect beauty, that it's a thing. It's something we've been created to observe and recognize. So I think that it's purposeful, and it shouldn't be sort of seen as frivolous. I heard something once. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was along the lines of men would never do half the things that they do if it weren't for women, and women's value of beautiful things, And that really struck me, it's always stayed with me. But yeah, I think what matters is being able to function and be okay even when things aren't nice and they don't look nice, right? Like, to aspire to have beauty in your life, but know that your happiness isn't dependent on it. That's where I sort of sit with it. But I do think it's an important and worthwhile value and aspiration. And I certainly feel emotionally so much better when I'm surrounded by order and beauty and lovely design and gardens and nice things. So, and when I feel good when I look good. So I don't know, I can't argue with that. I want to feel good. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because Chrissy and I, we talked about this. Both of us are into home improvements, and we both have this thing that we don't we like to have like beautiful containers or beautiful jars or beautiful plants in the house. So we ended up spending time and money to look for like pretty bottles, pretty jars that we can keep our items. We look for plants and pots that fit our home. And when you have plants in the house, and there's a lot of work and care that goes into them, which sometimes may not be practical. And for me, spending time and money to go look for empty bottles so that I can empty that hand soap bottle, hand soap into this nice bottle instead of just leaving it in whatever container it comes in. This obviously, my husband will never get it.
We're talking about our mason jars, right? Like putting all our
Yeah,
our flour, our kitchen goods into beautiful jars, and they're like, "Why would you do that? Like, why would you?"
Yeah, my husband is like, this hand soap already came in a bottle, and and then I'm buying a bottle, spending money to buy a bottle just to transfer this bottle of hand soap into another bottle, and he could never get it. But for me, it just makes the house looks nicer when it's a certain kind of bottle that looks um, incongruent with that whole bathroom aesthetics. And even for kitchen, like what Christy said about mason jars, like I would pour out, rice and oats and pastas into like mason jars and making them look pretty behind the shelf, which nobody sees, but it looks good to me.
That thinks it's some kind of insanity, but yeah.
Yeah. And my husband just don't get it. It's like, it's behind the shelf. Nobody's going to see it. And it all comes in like packages and containers and boxes. Like, why would you want to spend that extra time and effort to pour them out? But this is a very interesting and conflicting topic. I don't know whether you ladies have that same experience or the same struggles in this area.
Yeah.
But do let us know in the chat. How do you view aesthetics and beauty versus being practical at the same time? So comment in the chat, and we'll love to hear them. Great. Stop the recording. Stop it.